Well, hello, YouTube survivors. This is Roy from Bootsy Sweetheart's Guide to Life and Other Disappointing Experiences. Recording on this beautiful spring day on Long Island. 2 days ago, the heat went on, the furnace was on. Today, 81 degrees, 82 degrees. I'm introducing today my first cooking video. It's a baking video, and as much for the recipe and the content, it's as important for the technology and the videographing. I've been kind of critical of myself. When I started the video on baking, I really was nervous, and you could see I was uncomfortable from time to time around the camera. I know I have to get better camera angles. I know the lighting was off a bit, and it seemed a little slow paced, so I've got to pick up the dialogue a little bit. I tend to pause a lot between words, so I've got that. But if you notice any other technical aspects of this video, oh my goodness, look at the camera shaking because I'm outside and it's on a some sort of a gooseneck. Please make comments below. Again, be nice. Be nice. It's not nice to be nasty. But I'm in this as a learning experience, and I hope you're learning from me as well. This is a beautiful experience to be able to share my experiences and share myself with a brand new group of people, some of whom I know very well, and already I have several strangers who have become now my YouTube family, and we're all kind of survivors for life. So anyway, coming up is the video I've completed making Brookies, which you'll see, for a PTSA bake sale to celebrate the end of the Day of Silence at the LGBT network here on Long Island, out in Bay Shore. And it was a great event. I missed it, but my Brookies made it. So I hope you enjoy this. If you have a moment or two to like it at the end, to share it at the end, and maybe subscribe. My next video will be a craft tag along to a thrift shop by me. That is a good experience for me. It's like therapy, right? Thrift shop, craft shopping, therapy. Enjoy, and I will see you next time. Bye. This is Roy again from Bootsy Sweetheart's Guide to Life and Other Disappointing Experiences, here to put together a little recipe for our PTSA cake sale later on. These are called Brookies. I saw them online a while back, and we made them for one other sale, and they went over very well. We couldn't keep them on the shelves. And it's a combination of chocolate chip cookie and a brownie. I'm a little bit pressed for time, so we're going to make the cookie dough from scratch, but the brownies will be from a cake mix box, commercial box. The recipe for the cookies I have from the Nestle's Toll House website, and it's pretty straightforward. We have here, let me see if I can move the camera without shaking too much. We have 2 1/4 cups of flour. We have 2 eggs. Here we are. 2 eggs, 3/4 cup each of brown sugar and white sugar, 2 sticks of butter, which becomes, what does that say, a cup of butter, sort of room temperature. With that we have a teaspoon each of salt and baking soda. And we always have vanilla, and it says a teaspoon of vanilla, but we'll put it in by eye. And a 12-ounce package of Nestle's Toll House semi-sweet morsels, because that's what I like. And that's it as far as I can. There's the recipe also calls for nuts, but I didn't want to take a chance with that. We leave the nuts out. And there's enough of us nuts around without adding to it. So basically that's the recipe, and this is kind of fun. I have an old iPad mini that I don't use as my mini anymore, as my iPad anymore. So I use it in the kitchen, and it's loaded with recipes that we find, and either I save them as a website, or I copy and paste them to one of the document apps on this. Now, there should be a way to back this up. Maybe I'll use Google Keep to back this up, so that if something happens to this old mini, I'll have the recipes and everything saved. Otherwise, right now, if they're gone, they're gone. I can't get them back. Okay, so let's get started. First, we put the dry ingredients together. We have the flour. I'll put the baking soda and the salt into the strainer. Sorry about that. You don't need to sift the flour, but I do anyway, just to get rid of the lumps, but everything's pre-sifted. My mother sifted everything. Every flour she sifted, because I think it was a different kind of flour in those days. This also incorporates the baking soda and the salt. Actually, I'm getting impatient. What I'll do is I'll just I'll dump it in. Let me get a whisk. And I'll just whisk it all. To incorporate it, add a little bit of air. You really don't need that. You don't need the air. Try to not get so much all around. Then we're going to put the butter and the sugar, both sugars, the brown and the white, in the mixing bowl. And we're going to beat this until it's creamy. This helps dissolve the butter and the sugar into the butter. It really turns out better if you have room temperature butter. Now, if you have any suggestions for making cookies like this, please leave them down at the bottom, because part of, as I said in my introduction, part of the fun of this website, this YouTube channel, is going to be sharing shortcuts, sharing ideas, learning from each other, so that we can make things easier on ourselves. I love this idea with the iPad. It's really very, very helpful. You have to go into the settings so that the screen stays on longer and it doesn't, whatever that locks it after 10 seconds or whatever, 20 seconds. I leave it on for, I think, a couple of minutes, and every now and then just tap it to keep it alive. At some point here, I'll crank it up, sorry for the noise. And it says add 1 egg at a time. Easier said than done when I've broken them together. There we go. Then, I don't know what happened. I lost my good spatula. It's gone. I don't know what happened to it. The spatula thieves must have come in the night. Okay, we got that. Thank God for the dishwasher. Then we're going to incorporate the second egg. Again, I'm not sure if you know why. It'd be interesting if you know why we add the eggs separately. It doesn't always seem to make a difference, but there must be a baking reason. Now let me scrape this down. I remember an I Love Lucy episode years ago where she was baking and I don't know whether she was putting sugar or flour or whatever it was in the mixer, but you've got to be careful. It can go all over if you're not careful. So the instructions actually say to put the flour, the dry ingredients in a little at a time, and I think that's wise because this will just, sorry about that, this will be really dusty all over the kitchen. Oop. I have the tripod set up here and it's kind of in the way, so I apologize for every time I kick it. I don't know whether you can see, I get it all over. I am not the cleanest baker or cook in the kitchen. So it's good to have someone to help. Look at this, it's all over already. But this is half the fun. If you're mixing it, or you know what? I did not put in the vanilla. So we're going to add the vanilla. Look at that, that's a teaspoon. That's a teaspoon. And we have a little more flour. Somewhere there's a sheet on the internet that compares cookies to the ingredients. They'll give you a picture of cookies that are made with more sugar. The same cookie is just made with more sugar or more shortening, more butter, or more liquid. And it explains a little bit of the science behind cookies. It can be tricky. I have this one recipe from my mom where if you add even the slightest bit more butter, they turn into those like lace cookies instead of the little crisps they're supposed to be. Now the recipe the oven is up to temp. The recipe calls for folding the chocolate chips into the batter. This is my idea of folding the chocolate chips. This is a lot of chocolate chips for... Wow. I don't know. Just take a look. This is... Let me see. I'll show you. This looks like a lot of chocolate chips, doesn't it? Can you see? I don't know if the lighting is that good. Well, what could be bad about that? As Ina Gardner says, what could be bad? Too many chocolate chips. But see here, I'll just put it in very, very slow speed so I don't break the chips. You really don't see them as a traditional cookie. You don't really see them as a traditional cookie because of the brownie topping. Alright, so this is done. I'll scrape the beater and leave a side for me where you can't see, so I can do what I did as a kid. Lick the beater. In the old days, of course, you got your tongue stuck in the little tines of the beater. Nowadays, of course, these are easy. This is an easier way to give a cake mix lollipop to the kids. I'll put that over there. Now here's what it looks like. Put it in the light a little bit. It's fairly thick. It's like a cookie. I mean, this is a regular chocolate chip cookie. If you've made them before, you know. I'm going to put these aside, let it stay room temperature, because these have to go on the bottom and the brownie mix goes on the top. So when I set up for the brownie part, we'll take a little break here. I'll take an allergy pill. And I won't tidy up too much because I've got to do it again later anyway. So here we are with the brownie piece. This is easy. Again, it's commercially prepared box mix. Wow, what could be easier? Caliente. Oh, wait a second. Heat the oven. Okay. So we put the brownie mix in the bowl. This time it all goes in together. I don't know what kind of sugar they use. To make it dissolve so easily, but it works well. So there are 3 tablespoons of water. What could be more simple than this? 3 tablespoons of water. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and a half a cup of vegetable oil. Oh my goodness, I hope I used the yes, I did. Use vegetable oil and 2 eggs. What could be simpler than that? I like to put the eggs in a separate bowl just in case a shell goes in. It won't be in the cookies or it won't be in the brownies. 1 egg. This is going to be nice, rich. And 2 eggs. I don't know whether you've noticed it, but some of the store brand eggs have been having very, very, very thin skinned, thin shells on them. And they break really very, very easily. Alright, so this is all in the bowl. 1, 2, 3. How long do we mix it? Oh, it says stir. Wow. This is me stirring. Really, 3 tablespoons of water. And it's quite thin. Well, the 2 eggs, certainly. Alright. Scrape it down and then we'll give it another go, and that'll be that. Oh, this looks good. I'll show you in a minute. Oh my goodness. You know, you reach a point in life when things that make sense to you, having been a kid and made it to this point in life, that I don't mind licking the spatula off camera. And I don't worry about the salmonella in the eggs. The eggs are, in my mind, worth the risk of licking the batter. It's really, I mean, they tell you it's not good to do. But I guess there are a lot of things you do as you get older that maybe you shouldn't have done. But we'll do it anyway. Alright, anyway. Oh, I'm dripping. Okay. Isn't this fun? Oh, I'm not going to let you see what the rest of the kitchen looks like, because I've shoved everything out of the way to have this beautiful, beautiful set designed by Conrad's of New York. I can say that now because they're out of business. But no, it's... anyway, let's not even go there. Okay, get rid of the heater. And in the light, look at how nice that is. Isn't that nice? That's going to be perfect, because you'll see what we're going to do. We're going to spoon these on top. I do it a little bit differently because of the cake sale. Normally, well, I'll explain in a minute. So while I get ready for the part 3, I shall see you in a minute. Look, this fell on the counter. Num num. Now this part is probably the hardest part of the whole thing. What we do is I use these cupcake tins because it's just easier for a single serving when you're making a bake sale. Normally you would put it in a sheet pan of some kind and layer it. And what actually is supposed to happen, which does happen, is the cookie becomes sort of like the bottom crust of the brownie. The first time I did this, I just put the cookie balls of cookie dough in the cupcake tin and poured the batter on top, and they were good. It was like having a cookie inside of the brownie, but it's nicer if you can have the crust sort of be the bottom of it, of the cookie here. The cookie be the bottom of crust of the brownie, rather. So I'm taking a this size scoop and filling it kind of generously, putting a big ball of it in each of the 12. That one's a little shy, so I'll have to add to that. And then I take 2 spatulas. I can show you an idea that did not work. I have lots of ideas that did not work. Oops. Oh, he's shy. We'll put some of that back in there. I thought it was a brilliant idea and it didn't work. I'll show you in a second. So these are very nice. I hope there's an odd number so I can keep 1 or 2 for home. They're very rich. I don't know what we're going to sell them for. You know, after all, it is a fundraiser. So once we get all of the cupcake cups filled, looks pretty good now. I have 2 small spatulas that have been doing the trick for me. And all I do is spread these down, try to make them cover the whole bottom. It's kind of hard on this because I sprayed the bottom with baking spray to help release them. I guess we didn't need to do that. I think next time I'm going to try not to. But can you see that I try to push this down? Stay there. So that it covers the bottom. I don't want too much of the brownie mix going around the cookie. Some will. If you do this in a sheet pan, you get a nice layered look. But this is just as good. Now, brilliant me said, gee, if I'm going to squish these down, that's a baking term. If I'm going to squish these down, why don't I use a glass? Why don't I use some kind of something or other to help just push it down? So, this is what happens. Oh, look at how perfect that is, right? Oh, well, that isn't so bad that time. Usually, this is what happens. So, this didn't work. That one worked. That was unusual. And this is an impeccably clean Mother Sweet Tarts crystal set cordial glass. It's a whole nother story. You know, something about getting older. You have all this stuff that nobody wants, and you kept saving it because Grandma served Christmas dinner on that plate, and Nana did this with that picture or that platter. So you don't want to give them away. You're afraid to use them. Well, they may break. I mean, what if they break? At this point, nobody wants the stuff. So we use it. So we use the good crystal for not just company. I think I'm important enough to be company. And now we have the, now we have the brownie dough, the brownie mix. I'm going to get another scoop. Just should have had and first. It's another. This one's bigger. There's a little more space in each cup, so you can see the difference in size. I won't use as much though as the whole scoop unless it gets stuck. So what you do is you take some brownie mix and you just put enough in to cover it. Like that. I'll come back and I'll sort of straighten it out, spread it out so that it's equal. That one may be a little too much. Not sure. This is kind of generous. These are kind of generous. You don't really need to fill them this much. Here we go. So it's about little more than half full. I don't know. I measured this once, so I forgot, of course, because I didn't write it down. Oh my goodness, this looks so good. Okay, so well, you see them settling. It's all sort of getting settled in as it goes. Anyway, see, you can spread them out or shake them. This one's a little shy. I'll fix that. Then I'll do the other tray, and we'll be back. Okay, so here we are. I tried to even things off the best I could. They'll all turn out wonderful anyway. The box cake mix did not make as many as I was hoping for. I have enough cookie dough left and another box of mix. So for off camera, what I'll do is I'll make another batch. It shouldn't be that difficult since almost everything is made, and you saw how quickly the brownie mix goes. Now this goes into the oven for approximately, I check at 15 minutes, but it's probably going to be 20 minutes. You know, we've got to get the bottom of the cookie, where the bottom of the tin where the cookie is. I just realized you can tell my age when I call this a cookie tin. But when you get the bottom of the pan hot to cook the cookie, it takes a little bit longer. So I'll pop these in a 350 oven. My oven is set on convection bake, so it's probably a little hotter than that, but that's fine. And wait till you see how good they look. I will be back and tempt you with this final product. Really good. So here's the first batch. Not hot out the oven because I let them cool for about 10 minutes. One or two are a little ornery coming out of the cupcake pan. So I'll just package these away. Let me see if I can. I don't want to take one apart because every cupcake, every Brookie is a profit for the PTSA. I don't know if you can see how nice these are. They have a cookie crumb bottom that's very hard and a nice soft top, brownie top. These are good. These would be a good picnic, you know, barbecue dessert. If you want to gild the lily, I can see big scoop of vanilla ice cream sitting on top. The cook time for these turned out to be almost 25 minutes. A little longer than I thought, but I really like the way they turned out. You can see the layers, right? You can see the layers, I think. They're a little bit time consuming to make. It's not like just throwing together a batch of brownies. But if you're making them at home, I might suggest using the flat sheet pan, 12 by 9 or whatever those sizes are. I never get it right. But and then cut them into squares, and you can cut them into whatever size you want. Again, this was for the cake sale, so I wanted to have the serving size sort of similar, so that, you know, the kids get, you know, yours is bigger than mine, you got more than mine. No, the kids are not like that. We have wonderful kids. Anyway, this is my second recipe, second cooking video that I made. I made one at the end of the summer last year that I never really put together, edited, or did anything with because I wasn't sure where this channel was going to go. So I'm going to put that up at some point. It really is using all the vegetables, the very last vegetables from the garden. Tomato, eggplant, I think we had a zucchini, peppers, and I actually show you all of the last vegetables prior to this long winter that we just had, and just to saute with some rice. But I did it more for the technology and for the videography. So if you like the video, please put thumbs up. Please subscribe if you're not. Please share to somebody who might be interested. We'll be doing sewing. We'll be doing crocheting. We'll be doing some woodworking. All kinds of crafts. The recipes and cooking are sort of like a side for me, but you know, you can't be happy unless you're eating well. So we'll be cooking, and I may have to go on a little hiatus already. I just started and got a carpal tunnel diagnosis today, so that may change my calendar and my momentum a little bit. But I'll be here, and I'm trying to catch up on some videos ahead of time in case I'll be down for a little while. So we'll see. So again, I hope you enjoyed this. Stay well. See you next time, and be good. Bye.